is I often will say right and move my left when I'm teaching with people so that you can mirror me. But because I'm going to face a bunch of different sides, I will just say right and move my right. You can move your right and know that you're going to do the opposite of mirroring me because I'll be facing this way or this way or this way or this way. And so it's just always my right. Or you can mirror me and ignore the words right and left, depending on how your head works. So sorry, that's where I'm at. If this is really confusing after today, we can let ourselves know, let me know, and I'll figure out a way to be more aware of left and right. But I spent like an hour trying to get the computer to show a reversed image and it was not worth the effort. So anyway, hey, let's do some yoga. So if you have a mat, be on your mat. If you don't, I'm still gonna say top and back of mat too, because that's easier than left and right sometimes. So just pretend there's a mat there. And we will start in child's pose. So come into all fours. We're gonna bring our knees as wide as a mat would be and bring our big toes together to touch. We're gonna send our hips back towards our heels and our head comes down towards the floor. From here, we can be a little active in our child's pose. So you can press into your palms to try to push your butt a little bit farther back and down. And then after a little pressure into your palms, we can let the pressure go and try to do some internal rotations. So we're going to rotate our pinkies down to the ground and our thumbs up towards the ceiling, or maybe our thumbs even out to the sides, past up towards the ceiling. Feeling that internal rotation in the top of our arms as our head comes down towards the mat and our heels continue, or our butt continues to sink towards our heels. From here, we'll bring our awareness to our breath. Breath is a big part of this vinyasa yoga practice. So being aware of our inhales and exhales. I like thinking about my breath in child's pose because I feel like the back of your rib cage, you can feel the expansion and contraction a little bit better here. Child's pose is always available to you. What that means is if you're ever not into something we're doing, you can come back to this position or a variation of it that feels good to your body and hang out there until you're ready to get going. That's great. Couple more inhales, feeling your rib cage expand, maybe an open mouth exhale. Deep inhale. An open mouth exhale. So good. All right, we're gonna spin our palms back down to the ground, bring them underneath our shoulders, and pull ourselves up to a tabletop position. We're on all fours here, bringing our fingers spread wide, palms underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. We're gonna inhale, drop our tummy down, gaze up towards the ceiling, cow pose. Exhale, rounding our back, gazing back at our navel, cat pose. Inhale, tummy goes down, gaze goes up. Exhale, rounding our spine, gazing back towards our navel. One more time, deep inhale, filling that belly as it sinks down. Exhale, rounding, gazing back towards your navel. All right, coming back to a neutral tabletop, we'll walk our hands just a little bit farther forward, curl our toes under, lift our hips up high to our first downward facing dog of our class. From here, we can bring opposite heel down to the ground, pedaling out one foot and then the other, one heel down, other heel down, straightening out the backs of one leg at a time. Letting that go, we're gonna raise up to the balls of both feet. So we're on our tippy toes in our downward facing dog. And then we're gonna spin our heels over to the right side of our mat and lower them down. So we're sort of standing one foot in front of the other in kind of a twisty downward facing dog. Pressing into both hands here, perhaps feeling a stretch on the left side of your body. And then inhale, our heels will come up to tippy toes and over to the left side of the mat, pushing into our hands again for a twisty downward facing dog. Yeah. So good, cool. And then inhale back to regular tippy toe downward facing dog. We'll lower both heels towards the ground. A few more big breaths here, thinking about rotating like we did our arms in our child's pose. So think about your pinky spinning down and your thumb spinning up, even though our palms will stay flat on the ground, but having that external rotation in our upper arms while we're in our downward dog position. So good. On our next inhale, we're gonna look forward to our hands and then walk our feet all the way up to the top of our mat. From here, we're gonna come to a ragdoll position, a dangling position. This is a forward fold with a gentle bend in your knees, with your neck relaxed so the top of your head is reaching towards the ground. Your hands can do whatever you want. If you want to interlace, grab opposite elbow, that can feel good. If you want to let them dangle towards the earth or even rest on the earth, that's fine too. We can have just a little gentle movement here. So swaying a bit side to side. If your arms are crossed, let's try crossing them the opposite way for a little evening out of our positioning here. And then we're gonna think about bringing our weight into the balls of our feet and then rocking our weight back all the way into the heels so our toes can lift up a little bit. And then maybe weight onto the right side of our feet and our left side of our feet. And then finding a midpoint of our foot. So we have a very equal position in our weight, like right over the arch of our foot. Cool. From here, we're gonna release our hands if we're holding them in any way, and then roll all the way up to a standing position. Once we come to standing, we're gonna toe heel our feet until our big toes touch. Inhale, reach our arms up overhead, samastitihi. So from here, that internal rotation we were doing of our arms on the ground, we're gonna think about spinning our pinkies in and our thumbs out, bringing our biceps back by our ears, squeezing our rib cage together. There's like a tendency sometimes to want to like open it up wide. So we're thinking about knitting our ribs together here. Squeezing our tummy in like you're holding a marble in your belly button. We can squeeze our kneecaps up so our quadriceps engaged. Squeeze our glutes, just squeezing all of ourselves. We're just standing, but there's a lot of action to be found in a standing position. When we're inhale, we're gonna look up at the ceiling for just the tiniest of back bends, and exhale, our arms will spin wide. We'll come down to a forward fold at the top of our mat. From here, our hands are gonna find either our shins or our thighs. We're gonna flat back, lift and lengthen for a halfway lift so the top of your head goes towards the wall in front of you. And then exhale, your hands will find the mat, and we're gonna step back to the top of a push-up, lowering down through chaturanga, flipping your toes over to upward facing dog, curling your toes under, hip comes high to downward facing dog. And then we can come to our knees and sit, have a drink of water while I do a little tech talk for you. So we're gonna do a whole bunch of vinyasa, which is that like fancy push-up flow thing in this class. And that's a thing people often don't do great alignment with. So our vinyasa always starts from the halfway lift position with our hands on the floor, shins or thighs, and our head going towards the front of the room. From here, you have the option to just step back into a downward dog and meet us there. If you got wrist issues or you're just over it, great choices. The other step would be to come to that top of a push-up. You can certainly walk back or take big steps. At the top of the push-up, fingers spread wide, index fingers pointing forward and parallel to each other. Our shoulders are over our wrists. And then as we lower down, we want our elbows to stay over our wrists. So we're gonna have to push ourselves forward for that position. You can do that on your knees or with your knees raised. And then I want you to make sure that your shoulders never come lower than your elbows. There's a real big chance for shoulder injury if you do a lot of vinyasas and you lower down past parallel. So being a little bit above your elbow, always a safer option. So from here, we flip our toes over and come to some sort of back bend. There's a lot of variations in here. You can stay pretty close to the ground. If you've got back pain from this, thinking about really pushing the ground away can feel good. And squeezing your glutes can also help. And then we'll come back into downward dog. So I might say some of those cues while we're in the middle of it, but I feel like it's hard to see and think about it while you're also doing it. So I just wanted us to like talk about it. Okay, so hey, let's do all of that. So we'll start from a downward facing dog. Find yourself in this position with your feet parallel, hands at the top of the mat, hips up high, pushing our ears through our biceps. Big breath here. Exhale, inhale up to the top of the mat. We'll walk our feet up to our hands, flat back, lift and lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we'll bring our arms wide, coming all the way up to our standing position, that nice stacked standing position, engaging all of our body. Look up at the ceiling, and then exhale, forward fold. From here, we're doing that stuff I talked about. So flat back, halfway lift and lengthen. Head extends towards the front of the room. And then exhale, our hands will find the ground. High to low plank in whatever variation feels good to you, keeping your shoulders safe. Upward facing dog in whatever variation feels good to you. And then finding ourselves back in downward facing dog. Sending our heels towards the ground behind us, sending our tailbone up towards the ceiling, externally rotating the top of our arms in our downward facing dog. Nice breaths here. So good. All right, inhale, we're gonna look forward to the top of our mat. We're gonna walk, step, hop, jump to the front of the mat, however that feels good to you. Forward fold there. Inhale, sweep arms high. Utkatasana, standing pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we're gonna come to chair pose. So if your big toes aren't touched, let's toe heel our feet until our big toes are together. Then our arms are gonna come up high and our butt's gonna sit down. Utkatasana, Sanskrit literal translation is awkward pose. So if this feels awkward to you, you're probably doing it right. We can think about sitting our hips a little bit farther back, about squeezing our knees together, that internal rotation of our pinkies coming together, our thumbs spraying out to the sides, our biceps pulling back past our ears, our tummy squeezing in. Lots of stuff to do here. Inhale, sit a little bit lower back in your chair. Exhale, stay here. Inhale, one more breath. Exhale, forward fold, hands find the ground. We're gonna step back to the top of our push-up, lower through a vinyasa variation of your choosing, finding yourself in downward facing dog. Inhale, big breath here. Exhale. Inhale, we're gonna lift our right leg up high to the sky for a three-legged dog, whatever that looks like to you. Exhale, bring your right leg forward to the front of the mat. You can certainly use your hand to help it there. You can step it, you can swing it through. I'm gonna keep my left knee and heel lifted, but you can also plop it down if you'd prefer to do that. From here, we're gonna come into a crescent lunge. So spinning both arms up overhead. Oh, you look so good. I love these tiny little screens on my computer. Still, you maybe guessed it, spinning our pinkies in towards the center of our body and our thumbs out wide. Your back leg is as straight as you can get it, so thinking about pushing the back of your back knee towards the ceiling while we sink our hips down, bringing our front knee to a 90-degree angle or close to that. I'm doing a lot of heavy breathing in this class. That's great. We'll inhale here for another breath and exhale. Inhale a little, look at the ceiling, and then exhale, we're coming to javelin, which is just moving our arms so that the palms are towards the ground by our hips. If you know what a javelin is, we're kind of feeling that motion from our back heel to the top of our head, ready to shoot forth in the Olympics. I think the javelin is in the Olympics. I don't know. So good. Ugh. And then inhale, we'll come back to a crescent position that we were in before. This time we're gonna open up to warrior two. So our back heel is gonna find the ground and we're gonna spin our torso to our left side. So here I'm not mirroring you again, reminder. We're in our warrior two, finding our shoulders stacked over our pelvis, our ribs knit together, not splayed open. Our arms nice and strong out to the sides, palms down. Inhale here and exhale. The outside of your left foot can be pushed into the ground. And then your right foot, I want the weight pretty even in the middle of the arch of that foot. So good. Cool. From here, we're gonna come to a side angle pose. So our left forearm's gonna find the top of, right forearm, top of right thigh. I'm so used to reversing this. And then our left arm's gonna reach up overhead. So continue a line from your left heel to the top of your left hand. And we wanna think about keeping space in our neck. So our right ear and right shoulder aren't best friends. There's some nice space between that side of you. Well, our left side reaches long. Your gaze can be forward, could be down, it could be up to the ceiling. someplace purposeful, still thinking about pushing your energy through the outside of your back foot. So good. Our legs are gonna stay exactly where they are, our hips sunk really deep, but we're gonna reverse our arms. Reverse is the technical name, not quite literal. So our left arm's gonna cartwheel up and over, and our right arm's gonna reach toward the sky. Not too much weight in these arms on your back leg. Just reaching up toward the sky, sinking our hips down for a reverse side angle. So good. One more inhale here, reaching up towards the ceiling. And exhale, we're gonna cartwheel our hands down. We're gonna step our right leg back to the top of a push-up, lowering down through our vinyasa variation that feels good to us, finding ourselves in downward facing dog. From here, we're gonna do the other side. So we're gonna inhale our left leg up to the sky, finding the three-legged dog variation of your body. And then our left foot's gonna come forward to the front of our mat, however you wanna get it there, finding ourselves in a lunge position. From here, making our balance between our 2 feet, we're gonna bring our arms up towards the ceiling for a crescent lunge. Yeah. If you find balance is a little tricky here, you don't wanna be a tightrope walker, you wanna be on 2 tracks. So thinking about having your feet a little bit wider, like you've jumped into the top of a split jerk versus right behind each other, because that's a little bit harder to balance. From here, we'll come to the javelin position though. So keeping our legs as they are, our palms will swing back by our hips, palms towards the ground, shooting energy from our back right heel out the top of our head. Yes. So good. All right, inhaling, our arms come back up to a crescent lunge. And this time our right heel finds the ground as we open to warrior 2 on the other side. I'm gonna look at you while I do this one. So samesies, thinking about our pelvis squaring off to the side of our mat, our shoulders staying right over our pelvis, our arms nice and neutral out to our sides, sinking down till our front left knee comes to a 90-degree angle. Strength in our right leg, nice and straight and strong, pushing into the outside of the back right foot. Yeah. Our left forearm's gonna find our left thigh, coming into side angle pose on this side. Yes. I'm gonna catch my breath and not tell you anything while we hang out here for a sec. Okay, cool. Keeping our legs as they are, our pelvis nice and low. We're gonna cartwheel our right arm up and over and our left arm up towards the ceiling for a reverse side angle. Yes, I am feeling my hips doing this work. So good. Cool. And then coming up to neutral. I don't remember how we got back into crescent lunge. We'll spin around to crescent lunge, and then we'll bring our hands forward to the top of our mat and step both feet to the front of our mat so that we're in a forward fold at the front of our mat. From here, we can do just a dangling forward fold if you'd like. If you want to do Pada Gustasana, that means big toe pose. So you take your peace fingers and then you wrap them between your big toe and your second toe, squeezing onto your big toe. You can do a little tug into those, bringing your elbows out wide to get a little bit farther into a forward fold here. Nice little bend in the back of your knee feels good here so that you're not hyperextending. Cool. All right, if you're holding something weird with your fingers, let go of your feet. We'll toe heel until our big toes touch. We should be standing at the top of our mat. From here, we're gonna inhale our arms all the way up overhead for standing mountain pose. Again, spinning our pinky fingers in, thumbs out, knitting the ribs, squeezing our glutes, our quads, our stomach. Here we are. From here, we're going to sit back into our chair pose. So butt comes down, sinking on in. We're gonna bring our left hand to our right knee and then look underneath our right shoulder. So coming to a twist variation in our chair. If there's something that feels a little bit better in your body, you certainly can have your left arm just dangling or farther around the outside of your right knee. Some version of a twist here. So good. All right, and then coming back to a neutral chair pose, looking forward with our arms overhead. We'll stand up tall, exhale, forward fold, hands find the ground. We're gonna step back to the top of our plank, move through our vinyasa of your choosing. Upward facing dog, back to downward facing dog. A few breaths here. On the next inhale, our right leg is going to come high to a three-legged dog. And exhaling, our right foot comes forward to a lunge. From here, we're going to keep our left hand planted into the ground, and our right arm is going to reach up to the sky for a twist in our lunge. Again, finding space between our ears and our shoulders. Neck long, you can gaze up towards the ceiling if that's there for you, or just out to the side. So good. Inhale and exhale, both hands find the ground. From here, we're gonna cartwheel our left arm up and over, coming through our warrior two, so our back left heel finds the ground. This time we're gonna straighten both legs. Cool. And our right arm's gonna shoot forward over our right foot, coming into a triangle pose, so kind of tick-tocking over into this position. Feeling both legs nice and strong. The weight in the center of your front right foot and pushing through the outside of your back left foot. Some space between your shoulders and your ears, gazing up to the ceiling or out in front of you. Whatever feels good. Or like a challenge, maybe not good. Nice. And on an inhale, we're gonna come up to upright and we're just gonna reverse that triangle. So your feet stay exactly the same. Your left hand comes down to your left leg and your right arm reaches up to the sky. And then our right arm and our left arm are gonna cartwheel forward to frame our front right foot in a low lunge. From here, we're gonna come to side plank on our left side. So the side of the left foot's gonna find the ground and the right leg's gonna stack either on top of it or in front of it or flying. Some variation of side plank with your weight on your left hand and the side of your left foot or your left knee. Stacking our shoulders, finding space in our neck. Cool. And from whatever side plank variation, we're gonna find a regular plank, push our butt high to downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward to the front of the mat. Step or walk or jump all the way up there. Arms up high, finding our mountain pose. Sitting back into our chair, we're gonna go to the other side. So this time we're gonna twist to the left side. Our right hand's gonna find the outside of our left knee, and our left hand's gonna reach up to the ceiling. Sitting back deep in our chair, squeezing our knees together, squeezing our thighs together, looking up to the ceiling or out to the side. Sitting a little bit lower in Utkatasana. And then coming to both arms up, regular Utkatasana, awkward chair pose. Exhale, we'll stand all the way up. Inhale, a little back bend, look at the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hands find the ground. Step back, high to low plank, or just meet us in downward facing dog. Inhale, our left leg goes up to the sky for three-legged dog. Exhale, we'll bring our left leg forward to the front of our mat. We'll ground through our right hand, left foot. Our left hand's gonna reach up for a twisted lunge position here. Oh, so good. Yes, yes, yes. Growing length through our neck, bringing the top of our head farther out in front of us. Gazing maybe all the way up to see your left thumb. Great. And then our left arm's going to lower down to frame our right foot. We're going to come through a warrior two to get to the triangle pose. So our back right heel is going to ground. Both arms are going to cartwheel up. We're going to straighten both legs. Left toe is still facing the front of the mat. We'll tick-tock forward over our left leg, lowering down to a triangle pose. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Gaze maybe up to the right arm or not. I got a really good clonk out of my hip on this one. Side's always a good hip stretch for me. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Squeezing your kneecaps up, quads up to make sure you're keeping your legs engaged, relying on your muscles to do the work, not just your bones stacked on top of each other. Cool. And inhaling up to upright, we'll reverse this. So your right hand's gonna come down the back of your right leg and your left arm reaches up towards the sky, keeping our pelvis shining out to the side of our mat. Cool. And then cartwheeling our arms down to frame our front left foot. We're gonna come to a side plank on the right side. So your weight will be on your right hand and the outside of the right foot. We can stack feet on top of each other, in front of each other. You can also have your right knee on the ground, some variation of side plank here. Pushing into the ground to give some space in your shoulders. And then we'll find ourselves in the top of a regular plank push-up and shoot our butt high to a downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Thinking again about our rotation in our upper arms, thinking about spinning our thumbs up without actually moving them so that we've got that spiral in our upper arms. You can always have a gentle bend in your knees here. I'd rather your tailbone be up towards the ceiling than have your legs totally locked out if those are the choices you have today. One more exhale here, and inhale, we'll bring our feet up to the top of the mat and bring our arms all the way up to mountain pose, standing tall, ribs knit, quads engaged, glutes engaged, pinkies spiraling in. From here, we're gonna sit back into our awkward chair pose again. We're gonna bring our hands to prayer position so that we can take our left elbow and put it outside our right knee. So coming to a twisted chair, having your legs really close together so you can squeeze your knees together can help with this. And then actually using this prayer as like a way to push yourself over so that you're looking more to the right side. cool. We're gonna release this to a forward fold, so you can just flop your body forward and whatever gets you to that position. And then hands to shins, thighs, or floor. Inhale, half back, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hands find the earth, step back, high to low, push up, upward facing dog, some vinyasa flow, whatever feels good to you. Finding yourself in downward facing dog. Inhale, three-legged dog with the right leg up high to the sky. Exhale, we're gonna bring our right knee to just tap the right elbow, bringing it forward, and then returning back to three-legged dog. Now we're gonna bring our right knee forward to tap our left elbow or someplace close to it, and then back to three-legged dog. Finally, we're gonna bring our right knee forward to tap our nose, squeezing in someplace near there anyway, and back to three-legged dog. And now our right leg's gonna come forward to the lunge position we know. We're gonna rise up, finding our prayer position in lunge this time. Our left elbow is gonna try to find our right knee. For a prayer twist over to the right side, you can certainly have your back knee down here, or you can do the open arm variation if that's a little bit more in your body today. I don't know. I just felt like it was time for a full flow class. So good. All right. To release this, we'll bring hands to either side of our front right foot, pausing a moment in lunge. And then we're going to walk our hands all the way over to the left side of our mat, coming into a standing straddle fold. So our toes are both facing now to the left side of our mat, maybe even a little pigeon-toed if that feels good. And we're hanging forward in a wide-legged forward fold. Yes. I love glancing at those funny little screens of you. Okay, from here, our left palm is going to find the ground right underneath our face, and our right arm is going to reach up to the sky, twisting little, I don't know, twisted wide-legged downward dog. I don't know what this would be called. There's probably some yoga name for it. Cool. And we'll just switch which arm is down. So our right arm is going to find where our left palm was, and our left hand's going to reach up to the sky. So good. Now our left hand's going to meet our right hand, and they're going to walk forward, out. Forward is confusing, away from our butt. So we're coming into what is now just like a very wide-legged downward dog position. You can think about still sending your hips back so they're parallel with your heels. If this isn't working for you, any sort of straddle forward fold is fine. You can certainly be dangly if you don't touch the earth here. Rocking our weight a little bit forward into the balls of our feet, maybe to intensify the stretch in the back of our legs, or back into our heels to figure out where the balance point is in our body. Cool. Wherever your hands are, we're gonna walk them back so they're underneath our shoulders, and then all the way around to the front of our mat so they're framing our right foot. And then our left foot's gonna step forward to meet our right foot. It can just wander up there, or it can be one big step, however that works. From here, we're gonna toe heel our big toes to touch. And inhale, swoop our arms up high to our standing mountain pose, spinning our pinkies in, squeezing our abs and glutes, quads, kneecaps, ribs together, sitting down into our awkward chair pose. Palms find prayer in front of our heart, and our right elbow finds the outside of the left knee for a twisted chair. Sometimes it's tempting to let your butt sneak way over to the left side here. So thinking about having the twist just be in our upper back, sending our hips straight back from our knees, only spiraling in our upper back, using our prayer to push against our palms, spinning ourselves a little bit farther over to the left side. Yes, yes, yes. Cool. And then we'll release this to a forward fold. We're gonna step or hop back to the top of a push-up, lowering through our vinyasa flow. Low push-up, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And we'll do that little core thing with our left leg. So inhaling our left foot up to the sky. Exhale, our left knee is gonna find our left elbow. Exhale, heel up to the sky. Inhale, left knee to right elbow. Exhale, heel back up to the sky. And then knee to nose, rounding forward. And then a final three-legged dog, heel up to sky. Exhale, step forward to our lunge position. From here again, our back knee could come down or stay up. We'll come to an upright lunge, find prayer position, and our right elbow will find the outside of our left knee. Again, finding space between our ears and our shoulders, maybe gazing all the way up to the ceiling in our twist. So good. All right, we're gonna look down at our left foot. Our hands will frame that foot, and then we're gonna walk our hands over to the right side of our mat for a wide-legged forward fold on this side. If you would like to do that extended downward dog again, you can walk your hands forward. Another option today would be to grab your hands behind your back. If you feel okay with your head just dangling, you can reach up, interlace your fingers behind your back, and let your pinkies hang heavy towards the ground. This is a nice place again to play with where our weight balance is, rocking forward into the balls of our feet or back into our heels, feeling where the stretch is. Wherever your hands are, they can release and find the ground, and we'll walk them forward to frame our left foot at the top of the mat. Our right foot will come forward to meet it for a standing forward fold. From here, option for Padahastasana, you can certainly just do a dangling forward fold if you'd like that. You can also put your two peace fingers around your big toe like we did earlier, or you can lift your feet up and stick your whole hands underneath your feet so your toes tickle your wrists. And palms of your hands are against soles of your feet. You can have a generous bend in your knee to get into this, and then think about straightening your legs once you're here. Relaxing here, letting the top of your head dangle towards the earth. I once went to Estonia for like a 10-day yoga retreat, and I was the only native English speaker. It was French teachers teaching in English to Estonians, Germans, and Swedes mainly. There were a couple Israelis there too. But they said dandling instead of dangling. Dandling, is like a baby on a knee. And I hated being the American that was like, that's not the word you want. So I just let them say dandling, but I think we're dangling and not dandling. Anyway, you get one weird Amelia story with this. Okay. From here, we can take our fingers out from underneath our feet if they're there. And then with a nice generous bend in our knee, we're gonna roll all the way up to standing. Inhale, our arms come up overhead. Hey, let's grab our left wrist with our right hand and do a little side bend, pulling over to one side of the body. Cool. And then coming up to neutral, switching that so our left wrist grabs our left hand grabs our right wrist, pulling yourself over to the other side. So good. And then back up to our neutral Tadasana pose, zipping our legs together, squeezing it all up and in. Very active standing position. So good. All right, one more vinyasa for us today. So the best one yet, we're gonna exhale, forward fold, inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, hands find the ground, step back to the top of a push-up, all the way down to a low push-up, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Good, good work. From here, we're gonna lower down onto our heels. You can sit back onto your heels if you want, onto your knees is what I meant. Our inversion for the day is rabbit pose, which is a very baby inversion, and then we can add a tripod if you want to. If you know that you don't like pressure on your head, you can certainly have a blankie there, but you're very much in charge of the weight of this. So rabbit pose, we're just bringing the top of our head to right in front of our knees. We can have our palms outside our knees or grabbing our heels, whatever makes you feel safer. So our top of our head's on the ground, and then we're lifting our butt up high and just rolling a little pressure around on our head. So I can have it barely touching if I don't like weight in an inversion, or you can put a fair amount of pressure into your head and give yourself a little head massage. So let's try that together if you aren't already there. Our palms, for safety, maybe we'll have them closer to our knees, and then really curling into tucking your tummy in. We're gonna bring the top of our head to the ground, and our hips will come off of our heels so that we can walk a little weight into our head. You can find stillness here if you like that, or you can roll, just tracing the halo that exists on the top of your head every day, I know. In one way and then the other, or just little figure eights or little wigglies around here can feel good. Couple more breaths in rabbit inversion. I have so many rabbits in my neighborhood. Oh my God, I just haven't spent that much daylight in my house, I think. There's bunnies everywhere. All right, from here, we'll sit back down onto our heels, coming to upright. Pause and breathe there while I do some stuff. We can rabbit again if you'd like to. We can also play with a tripod if you want to play with that. A tripod, you want to have a very even pod. So thinking about our palms and our head being pretty evenly spaced in their triangle. We're coming basically to the rabbit pose again, but we'll curl our toes under, lift our butt up, and you can walk your feet in. This might be where you're at today. You can also play with bringing your heels either to your forearms or to an egg position or up overhead. So one more time, if you want to try a rabbit or play around with a tripod headstand, whatever feels good to you. We'll rock forward till the top of our head is on the mat, squeezing our abs in no matter what we're doing. You can tuck your toes under and lift your knees off the ground if you'd like to. You can play with walking one leg or the other in to balance on your upper arms, or balance in an egg position, or bring them up overhead to a full tripod position. You can play it around with a couple starts if you'd like. Whenever you're ready, we'll all meet up in child's pose, so you can find your knees wide, toes together, arms reaching out in front of you in a child's pose position. Nice work. And if you are still inverting on the top of your head, let's all find child's pose together, or some form of folded leaf, whatever feels okay and like a rest here. We'll do a little side bend in child's pose, so we can walk our hands over to the left corner of the mat or off the left side of your mat. Inhaling and expanding the right rib cage. And then hand over hand, we'll walk our hands over to the opposite side or off the opposite side of the mat. Feeling a little expansion in the left side of our body. And then bringing our hands back to straight out in front of us. We'll come up to all fours. We're going to end up on our back. If you'd like to flow through one more Vinyasa Chaturanga, you're welcome to curl your toes under, finding a plank, lowering down. Beautiful upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Or you can just flip yourself over, finding yourself on your back. From here, we're going to squeeze our knees into our chest. Rock side to side a little bit. Good, good work. We'll let the soles of our feet find the ground. Our knees are up towards the ceiling. We'll walk our feet as wide as the edges of our mat. And then we'll windshield wiper, knees falling left to right. Left to right. The next time both your knees are to the right side of your body, we're gonna let them hang out there for a little bit longer. You can look over your left shoulder to intensify the twist. If this makes sense to you, you can also pick up your right heel and stick it on the outside of your left knee as a little extra dead weight to pull that left knee down closer to the ground. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling that gentle tug of the twist on your low back. Good, good. All right, gaze back overhead if we're looking over our shoulder. If your feet are crossed, uncross them. We'll stand our feet back up, knees towards the ceiling. Maybe pick up your hips and shift them around if they got a little out of whack with the rest of your body. And then we'll windshield wiper knees left to right, 2 or 3 times. Next time they come all the way to the left side, we'll let them hang out there a little bit longer. Look out over your right shoulder to intensify the twist. If you want to pick up your left ankle and stick it on the outside of your right knee. Mine's not staying on this side, so that's fine. We're all asymmetrical. It can be slightly different per side if you'd like. Hanging out here for a couple breaths. You can inhale, look up towards the ceiling. Bring your knees up towards the ceiling, and then we're gonna hug both knees into our chest. You can certainly grab the back of your thighs or your knees or your shins, wherever your body works for you. Rock side to side a little bit. Coming into full happy baby if you'd like, grabbing farther down your shins, the inside, outside of your feet or your big toes in that Padangusthasana, big toe pose position we learned earlier. Rocking side to side. It's apparently happy baby if you're rocking, and then this one is called dead bug if you're still, which we call something else dead bug in CrossFit. It's fine. It's all fitness. Pulling your knees down towards our armpits here. So good. All right, one last time. Squeeze our knees into our chest. And we're gonna send our feet long down the edge of our mat. Our arms will come down by our hips or out like a T, whatever feels good to you. If you wanna pull your shoulder blades underneath you to get a little bit more situated here, that's fine. Maybe rock your head side to side. And then some nice big inhales and exhales here. Maybe inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Nice open mouth exhale. My dog just breathed at the exact same pace as me, and it was the cutest thing ever. Anyway. I did a bunch of twists, so you might feel some work in your back. That's good stuff. All right, bringing some movement back to our body, or you can stay here forever, that's fine too. But we can rock our head side to side if you'd like, wiggle your fingers and toes. Let's reach our arms up overhead. Big yawning style stretch through one side of the body and then the other. Like you're reaching to grab something that's just past your reach over your head. And as you're ready, we'll roll over to one side of our body or the other, curling up in a fetal position. For a couple more breaths here, feeling the back of our rib cage, feeling the breath move. And then using the strength of our arms, we'll push ourselves up to upright. Cool. Hey, that's what I have for class today. Thanks so much for joining me. Please, we're just trying to figure out how to make this work. So if you've got thoughts about things, if you want things faster or slower or harder or easier, like I got nothing but time to make a new program for you. So let me know. Thanks so much. Stay safe. Wash your hands.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amelia.
Thanks. Oof. I'm crying.